glory. We the Ambazonians pledge our loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. And legacy to the heroes who fought along we gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing rivers and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
Fellow countrymen and women, good evening on Ground Zero, good afternoon, good morning, good evening in other parts of the world. I am your humble servant, Dr. Julius Nyih, the Vice President of the Ambazonia Governing Council. I salute all Ambazonian fighters, forces on Ground Zero without distinction. Your bravery, your resilience, and your stamina over the last 8 years have shown the enemy La République du Cameroun, who are the true owners of Amba land. It is your sacrifice that has helped us in diplomacy, that has helped us in community mobilization, and in the legal fight against Cameroun. Una place a day. We, the Ambazonian people, and the Ambazonian Governing Council have the power to make this generation, in the words of John F. Kennedy, the best generation in the world. We have the power now to make this generation the best in Africa, in the Gulf of Guinea, and sandwiched between Cameroun and the zoo government of Nigeria. Fellow countrymen and women, I also salute the resilience of our civilian population. Time and again, you are called upon to follow civil disobedience in order to tell the enemy La République du Cameroun who is the owner of the land, in order to re-emphasize your aspirations to be free, in order to make sure that nobody ever tries to subjugate you again. I also extend salutations to the incarcerated abroad, Dr. Cho, in Ground Zero, and other parts of the world because of the Ambazonian crisis. I salute all the internally displaced and the refugees in Ground 1, Ground 2, and all over the world. It's because of a failed adventure of Cameroon into your land that has displaced you. But we are working day in, day out to make sure that your days in the wilderness are ended quickly. Today, I'll be talking about the 4 pillars of our quest for freedom, of our resilience. These 4 pillars are mainly civil disobedient pillars. When this revolution was called, this last phase of a liberation revolution was called upon by the consortium, they instituted ghost towns. Our civilian population, our forces, have made sure that for 8 years running, Country Sundays, ghost towns on Mondays have been the order of the day in Ambazonia. And Cameroun, enablers of occupation, Cameroun colonial administrators have enforced, have respected and cherished our stamina to respect our country Mondays or Country Sundays, which take place every Monday. The second pillar is our rejection of colonial apparatus, structures, and processes. For 8 years running, we have rejected 11 February. We have told the occupier, this is the day that you use to cement your conquest, a failed one, over Ambazonia. This is a day that you use to camouflage and forget about your own Independence Day on the 1st of January. This is a day that our kids, our mothers, fathers, women, and children have stayed at home and not come out to march to honor the colonial flag, to rejoice as a captured people. And I salute you for all of that. We have also stayed home every 20th May to tell La République du Cameroun that 20th May is not a national day. 20th May is not a celebration of your conquest. 20th May is the day that we will stand in defiance. We have also rejected Cameroon's curriculum of education when their schools start in September, ours don't, rather. In that way, we have told Cameroon and its occupational structures that no government schools are allowed and that our school year does not start at the same time like that of Cameroon. We have also established community schools, private lay schools, in order to imbue into our population, the future generation, the skills and knowledge that would make them an asset rather than a colonial education that makes them a liability. So my people, these are the 4 unshaken pillars of the revolution that started the last phase in 2016. And I call on you all to be steadfast and to use the upcoming 11 February next Tuesday to stay home. Do not participate in any 11 February activities in Ambazonia. Show the international community that you are a people, you are distinct, and you have rejected colonial activities. The international community is watching you. Lest you forget, in 1961, February 7, Dr. E.M. Ndele saw what is happening to us and cautioned that any association with Cameroon would lead to bloodshed, and that Cameroon resolves political differences with a gun and with violence. And little do we know, since the day they marched their troops into Ambazonia, they have used violence, intimidation, the gun, to resolve a political crisis as we now have. Mola Joe Litumbe, Mola Likinye, all of them caution Ambazonia on the perils of an association with Cameroon. 63 years after, we are still living what they caution us again. If not us, who can free a people? If not now, when do you want a people to free? The Ambazonian people will free themselves from the colonial hackers of Cameroon with this generation. We are the never again generation. And the theme for this year boycott of 11 February would be honoring Ndele, Mola Joe Litumbe, and Mola Likinye. That would be the theme. Honoring Ndele, Likinye, and Joe Litumbe. You stay at home, You honor them for being foresighted, as all Ambazonians have been before, to foresee and forewarn what we are witnessing today. But thanks, you can pat yourself in the back and said, yes, I'm happy to be the generation that will bring an end to Cameroon's adventure in Ambazonia. And one person that has shown Cameroon that this generation means business is Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, who through the collaboration of Norway, Cameroon and other NATO countries decided to silence him so that Cameroon can promote a failed and a deceptive return to normalcy. The war has changed. The dynamics have changed. Cameroon know how we are beating them on the ground. Cameroon know we are as strong today as we were yesterday, the day before yesterday, and that will even be stronger in the days ahead. Dr. Cho says, I salute your bravery, the civilian population, and to respect the 4 pillars of the civil resistance, and that his forces should march on. The forces of the Ambazonian people should march on. Every dreamer of freedom should march on and know that freedom does not come on a platter of gold. With hindsight, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba will be indicted by Norway because for the Secret Service in Norway to let him go, they opened themselves up for huge litigation and compensation. So they're going to kick the can. That's the insight we are getting. His current detention term comes to an end on Monday, the 10th of February. So we call on our people to stay home on that Monday, the 10th, to honor Dr. Cho. It's a country Sunday, but it's a special country Sunday that precedes 11th February. That is also a ghost town. On the 10th, we'll honor Dr. Cho and any other incarcerated, any other detained, any other Ambazonian that has been disappeared by Cameroon forces and killed. So that will be a huge country Sunday on Monday the 10th, and it coincides with the day that the current detention of the sick would come to an end and Norway would decide to indict him or to prolong his stay with no evidence to show for after more than 4 months trying to look for a needle in a haystack. Then on the 11th, which is Tuesday, would be another ghost town to honor Iyamendele, Mola Lekenye, and Mola Njo Litumbe. So I call on you to respect 2 days ghost town. It is a war zone, and we call our people not to be caught in the crossfire. Anywhere that Cameroon occupational forces, the traitors and enablers assemble, it's a legitimate war target. And as such, as our people have shown over 8 years, do respect it. Your forces are well prepared for anything eventuality. I also wish to use this opportunity to thank all those who have contributed towards the legal fund of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. He has extended his appreciations to all those who have contributed. I wish to assure you that we have assembled a formidable legal team composed of the best legal minds in Ambazonia and in Norway in order to defend Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba against some frivolous charges levied upon him. Norway has no evidence. Norway is running skelter-helter in Europe looking for evidence when the evidence is in ground zero. When they came interviewing me, I told them to go to ground zero and interview the generals. They are there. And that if I was grading their work up to now as a researcher, I will give them 15 on 20. They are not doing a great job. We also call on you people to show Norway that you stand with Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba by continuously contributing towards his legal defense. In terms of the revolution on the ground. We have seen how Cameroun has galvanized our chiefs in order to perpetuate, in order to show a sense of normalcy and boost their ailing president standing within their own population. They have continuously used the chiefs in order to undermine your aspirations, in order to desecrate the culture that you stood, that embodies you as a people. And we call on this chief to desist from their actions. Because in Cameroun, in Ambazonia, in Nigeria, in Biafra, every chieftaincy has some traditional rules and norms. And our traditional rules and norms have a way by which they sanction these types of chiefs who desecrate culture, who do not stand with their people, who do not fight with their people. The Ambazonian Governing Council has commissioned the Education Department to do research so that we can develop a policy position on the future of chiefs in Ambazonia. With hindsight, we know from our culture that when chiefs are sanctioned, they are either fined, they are dethroned, they are banished, or they are sentenced to death, depending on the gravity of their crimes. And as it stands, 99% of chiefs and funds in Ambazonia have desecrated their culture, have committed crimes against Ambazonian people through their actions and their devices. They have enabled colonialism, which is a treasonous act. They have allowed our forces to be killed. And as such, the traditional rules and norms will apply when appropriate, and the policy position will be made known to Ambazonian people. In terms of diplomacy, fellow countrymen and women, we are doing great. I wish to thank all of you who supported us to get a legal firm represent your interests in Washington. I wish to also use this opportunity to thank Comrade Akoson Raymond for representing Ambazonia during the inauguration ceremony of the 47th President of the United States of America. As I earlier told you, we are working in the background. As a management scholar, I believe in results, management by results. And as such, we will not divulge any strategies or what we are doing. We'll bring you the results. And in diplomacy, within the next 6 days and continuing, you will hear some good news again. I can assure you, and I thank the State Department in the Ambazonian Governing Council, well wishers, for all the work you are doing behind the scenes to make sure that Ambazonia is being listened now in the State Department of the United States. The plight of the Ambazonian people is being considered in the Senate and in Congress, and we have unvetted access to the White House. And as such, we'll be making the plea to these different institutions to know that their interest is best served in Ambazonia, and that they should make a judgment based on fact, based on evidence about the historical fact, the legal fact, and the humanitarian predicament of the Ambazonian people, so that an all-encompassing solution that would end Cameroon's thuggery in Ambazonia can be supported. For quite long, nobody has heard your cries, Ambazonian people. But now I can assure you that they are not only hearing your cries, they are considering what options to take. And in the months ahead, based on fact and evidence, that option will be made known to you. I wish to also thank all those who have committed in effort, in skill and knowledge to draft policy documents, those who have contributed towards the legal fund, the lobby firm, and that in the days ahead we'll be launching the lobby drive in order to support the lobbies in the United States. You are the generation that will bring an end to Cameroon's ill-fated adventure in Ambazonia. You are the generation that will end all suffering in the Gulf of Guinea with our friends, the Biafrans. So I call on you to redouble your effort in the payment of your liberation tax. Liberation tax receipts on the ground are picking up momentum in the diaspora. They are quite good. And I ask every entity, business, to pay their liberation tax. I ask every Ambazonian, male and female above 18 years, to pay their liberation tax. And lest I forget, liberation tax is 10,000 and 5,000 Amba for men and women respectively, nothing more, nothing less. And I call on the forces on the ground, I call on ADLA, I call on all different institutions to make sure that the liberation tax receipts are effective, the collection is efficient, and it is put into good use as we've always done when the time comes. I'm also thanking everyone that contributes to the AGovC on a weekly basis, on our monthly fundraiser. Your sacrifices and your commitments have made the difference. They have allowed the AGovC to champion the cause of an abandoned people. They have allowed the Ambazonian Governing Council to base its approaches on extinguishing Cameroon's light in Ambazonia. And the days of Cameroon in Ambazonia are numbered. The stars are perfectly aligned in favor of Ambazonia this year. And we think that we have what it takes. In the coming months, the AGovC would undertake elections for the president and the vice president as prescribed by Article 54 of the Charter. Because the AGovC is running the liberation revolution as it would run a democratic state. And as such, all democratic structures within the Ambazonia Governing Council are respected. Once those elections are over, the new strategy on the lightning phase of the revolution will be announced. For 8 years and counting, we have been in the consciousness, in the education, in the door knocking, and in the ungovernability space for Cameroon. We have achieved that. We are at the top of the summit, and sooner or later we would start the descent, and that is the lightning phase. Within that lightning phase, there are certain indicators that will tell Ambazonian people how far they are from Boya. And I believe with your ingenuity, with your sacrifices, you will show Cameroon who owns the land. This generation has bad news for Cameroon. We will end your thuggery in Ambazonia. We have won you in the battlefield. You brought in the Chadians. We defeated them. You brought in the French Secret Service. We defeated them. It doesn't matter who you bring. If Ambazonia defeated the Germans, the Brits, the Portuguese, it's not Cameroon. Cameroon is too naive, ruled by aliens. Ambazonians are wiser. Every time you think there is a fate normalcy, or every time you think the Ambazonian people are not following their dream, they rise up as one person. Either freedom or death. Thank you, fellow Ambazonians, for standing with the Ambazonian Governing Council, with the Ambazonian Liberation Authority, and with the Ambazonian Defense Forces and other sister forces on the ground. We thank you for your bravery. This generation would be down in history as that which ended Cameroon's occupation. Hail, hail this land of glory.
Ambazonians, special loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. And legends to the hero who called the lonely gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be